Excellent. All yours.
All right. Okay. Okay. This is part 2 of our trip to northern Chile. We visited on the left there, just on the right, sorry, you'll see the map there, 1, 2, 3, and the very top one, 15, are the areas that we're visiting. Number 3 is the one we'll deal with today, which is the Atacama region. We visited the Arica and Parinacota, Tarapacá and Antofagasta regions the last time. Quite a lot of unknown and rare sulfates we visited. It's a bit easier on the mind, this one, because there's very few sulfates here, and it's a bit more common as garden minerals in some cases, although there are some rare ones as well in the Atacama region. We'll also visit number 4, the very top, a couple of sites just inside Coquimbo region, and then way down there, number 7, the green one, is O'Higgins, which is a nice Spanish name, O'Higgins. A little site there, or a big site there, we'll touch on, and that's pretty well it. So let's have a start. There's the map there. We're starting at the northwest corner up there. We'll travel down to Chañaral, then we'll go in an arc type way. We'll go inland east to El Salado, Diego Almagro, and then into El Salvador, which is the top one there, and below it is Potrerillos there. Come down through Inca de Oro, 1 or 2 little sites here, to Copiapó, but 1 or 2 sites to the east of it as well. Then Copiapó and Tierra Amarilla is where all these circles, stars are. And then down here at near the bottom, there's a couple of sites we'll touch on here called at Freirina, and there's a little site here way down the bottom right, which is almost back into, it's in Coquimbo region, but it's almost into the Atacama region itself. So let's start here. We go through the Pan de Azucar National Park in the north coast to get to the coastal town of Chañaral, which Chañaral is it's where a lot of the cargo of ore and processed goods come from El Salvador mine and the Potrerillos smelter inland, and it's a nice big beach there, but unfortunately it's due to flooding that it's actually got a lot of toxic chemicals in it. So we'll move inland. First we come to the Cerro Negro, Amor and Caballo Muerto mining districts, and here we have the Cerro Negro district here with some typical dioptase from Chile, very like the Farola mine stuff that you see. Quite difficult sometimes to distinguish from brockentite, but this is from the Cerro Negro mine, and they're quite nice specimens, but they're very small crystals. The Amor mine also in this area gives linarite specimens, and brockentite and malachite are also in this area. Moving inland, we come to the Manto Russo mine, which is near El Salado. Cornetite here is the mineral of note. Very small crystals, but they're very nicely formed. Now, El Pimiento mine, I'm not too sure about the information on this, but it's quartz and hematite are the things of interest. Some very nice hematite crystals here. Which are almost as good as some of the European locations for platey hematite. Moving inland again, we come to El Salvador mine, which is up in the the Altiplano almost. It's we're away up to 10,000 feet now. The Salvador mine, it's a very big mine. It has a mining camp there for many years. It's now running out, and it's going to become in future an open cast mine, the Rajo Inca mine, which Rajo means an open cast mining operation. It's currently an underground one. Pyrite is, get hand specimens of pyrite from here, which are quite decent. Tenantite as well. There's another one, main ore mineral there. And then we also get cuprite and chrysocolla. The cuprite there is the chalcotrichite variety. It's very often higgledy-piggledy stuff. You don't get too much of the boxes and girder work specimens, but there is a couple of bits there in girder work of in the central area there. So it does occur there, but it's not too common. Now, as I say, El Salvador is up in the Altiplano. The ore gets sent away back down to the coast from 10,000 feet back to Caldera on the coast, and then it's sent up to the smelter area in the Andes again on the Altiplano to Potrerillos. El Salvador and Potrerillos are only about maybe 50 or 60 miles away from one another, but it pays them to send it away back down to the coast and then up in this hair-raising rail trip that they have to get to Potrerillos. It's also equally interesting on the road as well. You'll see a little train there in the painting, and it comes out this tunnel here. It's quite a spectacular journey. Potrerillos, the famous mine there is the Mina Vieja. There is no actual operational mine at the moment, but they are going to open another mine at Potrerillos. But the Mina Vieja, or the old mine, is southeast of the settlement. Potrerillos can be visited, and you can see the actual town there that the miners had, but it's completely empty. Azurite is one of the specimens that you get from the Mina Vieja, quite nice crystals. You get also tabular rosettes and things as well, and hand specimens, but you also get prismatic crystals, deep blue colour. And brochantite also is quite thick bladed crystals there rather than the more narrow elongated crystals that you get elsewhere. Now, another one that's at the Mina Vieja is chalcophyllite. Now, chalcophyllite here, it's quite distinctive. It seems to form vertical parallel growing plates. They're not usually sitting up flat to see the hexagonal shape. They're quite often stacked together in a vertical fashion, but you do get them as horizontal plates here, as you can see. But it's not so common as a regular habit for the site. One or two other minerals here, arsenates. You get some beautiful clinoclase specimens here. Lovely transparent gemmy crystals, lovely blue colour. Typical arsenate assemblage here with the chalcophyllite, clinoclase, and you also get cyanotrichite here too, which is not an arsenate, but it is quite well known from this mine. In addition, not so well known, there's green olivenite with the chalcophyllite in association. Other arsenates, scorodite, pharmacosiderite, they also are found, but they're tiny and they're not easy to make out. Now, maybe about 20 years ago, you might have noticed some hand specimens from the Manto Tres Gracias mine, which is chrysocolla coated in quartz, very lustrous gemmy material. Well, I'm showing this hand specimen here because it's what the Incas used to go and mine in Chile to get, they call it turquoise, or we call it misnomer of turquoise, but it was actually chrysocolla that they mined along with rockantite, and they used it for the jewellery that got sent back to Cusco in Peru for the Incas. Now, we'll come back to that later. Now, Inca, we come south from Potrerillos in the central area of the Atacama region to parallel vertical mountain ranges there, and then there's a central area, the plains, and there's a little sleepy mining town called Inca de Oro, which is quite famous, but it's a centre for a lot of mines in surrounding areas. A lot of it is artisanal mining by the former miners that used to work in some of the mines and their families. But the nearest mine there is the Mantocuba mine, which you get native copper there, lovely native copper crystals in aggregates. Very nice groups of crystals there. Some are associated with small cuprite crystals, which are actually very silver-like, and they're associated with a green coloured, obviously malachite included, calcite. Another mineral from the Mantocuba mine that's well known is the pseudomalachite, which actually does form crystals, tabular plated crystals there, which is not very common. Moving south from Inca de Oro, we come towards the Jardinera #1 mine, which is a type locality for xenite, which is a copper molybdate mineral, which was discovered only maybe about 20 years ago by the American Chilean collector Terry Senix. It forms distinctive plates and aggregates, and it has a very distinctive colour, almost like a chromium, although it's actually copper molybdate. Another mineral from the mine, sometimes you get them as elongated narrow pyramidal crystals, pardon me, microcrystals, but you also get them as Cuprian powellite. It's not to be rated with the ones in Chuquicamata that we saw last week, but they are of interest. Also, molybdenite is found there in hand specimens and as microcrystals. Quite nice crystals too. And then moving south again, we come to Carrera Pinto, which is famous for lingranite, copper molybdate, that's also found at Chuquicamata, which is a type locality. But in actual fact, it's probably this is the best site for it, lingranite. Small, again, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter plates, a bit like torbernite or a green wulfenite. It is associated with a recently discovered mine, so if you have a specimen of this, you should check it because there's little brown crystals, brownish brown elongated crystals of huenite, Huenite, another molybdenate mineral was discovered, and most lingranite specimens usually have some of that with it. San Pedro de Catayuyo, the Respira #3 mine is well known for spangoite. Now the spangoite here are very tiny crystals, well formed. This is an aggregate of crystals here, hexagonal with some brockentite. So that's pretty big for the location. Now, as I say, we're moving south through the central plain here in the Atacama desert, and we're coming down basically like Inca de Oro mentioned, which is the Inca of gold. We're coming down the what they call the Inca Trail, or the turquoise route, which the Incas used to send their goods and things to Cusco. At the bottom of the trail, it comes to an end at the head of the Copiapo Valley. And here on a site at Viña del Cerro, you'll see these circular things on the hill here. Now they're actually the base of what were formerly smelting ovens that the Incas used to get copper and silver. It has been proven that they could reach a temperature good enough for copper to be smelted. Now, here's an example of what these are called gyros, and here's an example of what one would look like. They were up on the hill to get the best ventilation possible to whip up the heat. And in actual fact, the next photo is a bit of a kind of artistic impression, but it's quite a spectacular thing, which would probably bring in their sort of religious ceremonies or incantations here, because it's alright, quite spectacular. These are the fires of the actual ovens in an evening on top of the hill, which is quite a spectacular sight, or it would be. These are obviously a reinterpretation of what they would be like, but I suppose it's quite reasonable to assume that's what they would be like. Quite impressive. Now, before we turn west towards Copiapo, we'll turn to the south east, about 40 miles from Copiapo to the Sapaliar district. Now, there's 3 mines of quite important here because they're producing a lot of specimens that are on the market at the present. We have the Dos Adriana mine, the Rajo de California mine, and the Los Azules mine. As again, Rajo means an open cast mine, so the California mine is an open cast operation, or it was. Now, this is a list of quite common specimens. They're quite overlap between the mines, but some of the mines are better with one mineral than the other. Here's the aurichalcite with hemimorphite at the Dos Argiana mine, and some rosacite with aurichalcite on malachite from the Dos Argiana mine as well. Brochentite from the Dos Adriano mine. The Los Azules mine offers very good specimens also of brochentite. There's the hemimorphite again from the Dos Adriano. Several different habits there. You can get hand specimens. They look quite like the Mexican Ahuela mine specimens sitting up in limonite. But there's a photo there showing several different termination forms there. Caledonite from the Dos Adriana mine. You do get it at the Rajos de California mine, but they're much smaller. The Dos Adriana mine caledonite specimens are actually the best. They're quite transparent sometimes and very gemmy. There's an example of composite crystals there. Unusual here is malachite. Malachite is coating and partly replacing cerussite crystals. You don't often see that. It's unique to that mine, the Dos Argiana mine. Another mineral which is quite unique is murdochite. Here they form simple cubes, very difficult to photograph because they're so lustrous, highly reflective cubes. They're actually quite blinding at times, but they are simple black cubes. You get them in the Sierra Gorda area that we visited last week, the last time, and they're different because they're more octahedral and variants of the octahedra rather than these simple cubes. There's some rosacite there as well. Now the Rajos de California mine, you don't maybe have come across a sericite from Chile. Now here's some sericite there, sitting on, I'm not sure, goethite I think. There's another example, not particularly anything special. The Rajos de California mine and the Dos Adriana mine give very nice linerite specimens, very rich in colour, up to 2-3 millimeters, generally not too large. The Rajos de California one is more commonly, they're more individualized. The Dos Adriana mine, they're more clumpier in groups. There's another group of linerite crystals here with some sericite. And there's another linerite crystal piercing a sericite crystal, and on the tip there there's a very small caledonite crystal, which is pretty well the standard for the Rajos de California caledonite. Very small. Now, a mineral you probably don't come across or associate with Chile is smithsonite. You do get greenish grey, kind of lustrous botryoidal micro crusts. They are actually composed of crystals. Usually they are rhombohedral in groups, and there's a nice crystal there with some ghosts, phantom crystals inside there. Now the Los Azules mine, which you do get things like torbornite, highwayite and percolite, radioactive minerals there as well, which you don't get at the other mines. You get recently discovered Atacama in very nice crystals. You do get labethonite too, nice elongated crystals up to 3 or 4 millimeters. And there's another group there with inclusions and attached pseudomalachite. The Los Azules mine also has produced some cuprite specimens that have been replaced with chrysocolla, quite striking, sitting on a black matrix of tenorite. They not much bigger than 3 or 4 millimeters at the most, generally smaller. So very nice. Now we move back towards Copiapo, and the Manto Cobriza mine is about 15 miles east of the city and capital of the region, Copiapo. The Manto Cobriza mine is a big active mine. It produced some very nice microcrystals of chalcocite and different various habits, but usually elongated. Another photo there shows it with interesting to see 2 different minerals there together. Tenantite showing its trigonal form there, and the chalcocite, the hexagonal form, using the reflected light to show the 2 shapes. Unusual, you get some chalcopyrite. I think it's maybe intergrown in layers here with bornite, quite peculiar. And then we come to Copiapo, which has a museum there. There's a museum also just south in the Tierra Amarilla district. They're both good museums for the local minerals, and one here in Copiapo is actually rated as one of the best in South America. Now, Copiapo was the first railway station in Chile that sent ore from Chanercelia, the famous silver mine, to the port at Caldera, which was built specifically for that purpose. It was obviously, I think, British built at the time, but area halfway between there and the port of Caldera, there's a famous site, the San Jose mine, which is where the 115 or whatever I think where miners were rescued is in that area. Now south of Copiapó, we come to a number of mines, which is I've got here the Jote mine, which has two type locality minerals, which are usually often together in the same specimen, hoteite and tapiolite. The blue-green crystals are hoteite, and the tabular colourless reflected light there showing the crystals of tapiolite. Jote is named for the mine, but Jote naturally in Chile is a black vulture with a red beak, not very appealing, not as appealing as these rare minerals. The Veta Negra mine, I bought this specimen originally as Zinco Elevenite, but it didn't look like it. I've since discussed it with Steve Rust, and he would come to the conclusion it's actually boleite, which is not recorded at this mine. So that's a bit of an unusual one there. But the Veta Negra mine has produced a lot of minerals. Some of them are very typical. Adamite is one, cuproadamite, picroformacholite, another one, a lot of arsenates at this mine. Here's a little vortex of picroformacholite, not too common to see that. Black hole of picroformacholite there, usually in the more ball-like habit of radiated crystals, which you do get there too. Probably the star of the show at the Veta Negra mine is the Miguel Romeroite, named after the Mexican mineralogist. They were originally thought to be Velia-elenite from this mine, but it has been shown that these are Miguel Romeroite. Very striking crystals, pink to reddish, blades, tabular crystals. Another manganese arsenate in this case. Now, near here is Elisa de Bordos mine at Pavilion. It has the best specimens in the world of Loanheite, which has been in existence for many years. Specimens from here, no longer accessible now, but the Loanheite was thought to be just native silver, but it is actually not native silver. Here's a photo of three different minerals. Loanheite, which is a dark grey material, and then you've got the silver, and then this kind of tobacco stained material is eugenite, which is another silver mercuride like Loanheite. This mine isn't accessible anymore. You get Loanheite and native silver hand specimens from here. The silver is usually plates. One of the famous mines that produce specimens is the Farola mine, which is at Cerro Pintados in the Tierra Amarilla area. Here's the crystals of quartz infilled with some chrysocolla. Probably more famous it is for the Atacama here at its best, that forms these starburst aggregates of crystals, both hand and microcrystal. Here's some more Atacamite with halloysite. Halloysite is an aluminium silicate. Here there's two different generations here. Quite a spacey type of image. And some chrysocolla here. as well, which seems to be coated in some sort of chalcedony or opal or whatever, but very peculiar. It's like molten glue in many cases. Now, not known here for about 10 years ago, some gold specimens were found here. Actually flecks on the diorite or dolerite matrix. They're only up to about 2-3 millimeters or at most. Now you see the bottom one in the bottom right there, it has some green in it. Now that's quite peculiar. Quite a number of these gold flecks. I don't know whether they're whether they're replacing gold or the gold's replacing the green. It's not too clear to make out. Another aspect of these gold flecks is quite a lot of them have beautiful filigree gold aggregates around them. It's only about 2-3 millimeter crystals in the center there, and then there's all these delicate filigree gold crystals and aggregates around the central core. Quite spectacular, really. The bethanite is also found here, not as good as the material from the Athulis mine. Sampleite or sampleite is probably at its best here. The type locality is in Chuquicamata. It's often labelled as the Farola mine, but it's actually the neighbouring Engaño Feliz mine, which means a happy disappointment or happy deception mine. It's really formed very nice aggregates here, crystal groups. And now we come to a very important site, Chanarcelio, the place which put Chile on the modern map. It was a rural country before then. This is what it looks like now, the hills. Originally, when it was in operation in the 1830s, it was described as a Swiss cheese occupied by a swarm of ants. It's a bit different now. It was discovered by Juan Godoy. Several tales relate to the discovery in the 1830s, but it's believed that it was his mother, who was of Indian origin, that told him where it was. Here is a look from the hill down. You'll see the spoil heaps down at the bottom part of it, and then the actual town, which is now a ghost town of Juan Godoy, population of 6,000 in its heyday. It's completely derelict. The last inhabitant left in the 1960s. The spoil heaps have been well worked over a number of times. The 19th century was the main period of operating, but the silver ore from here put Chile into the modern industrial world. Just some specimens. I don't have the millions of dollars that's necessary to buy the best proustite specimens here, so you'll have to do with the poor ladies' versions. Acanthite here, I believe this might be native silver that's been replaced by acanthite, this sort of herringbone pattern. And here's some actual acanthite crystals. Chlorargite is quite well known from here, and bromargite, which I believe you get in Broken Hill quite often as well. Form reasonable crystals, but sometimes they're just clumpy aggregates. Yes, here's the pure version of proustite from Chanarcelio. It is biterminated and a bit of red, but it is minute. Another one embedded here, nice fiery red colour. here in its form though. And another one here is we're looking at about 2 millimeters across, so it's a bit fuzzy. I apologise for that. Another mineral is pyrargite. Nice crystal here. Another one. And a very long, narrow, elongated crystal there, stretching out from a group of crystals. The material round about it probably is chlorargite or bromargite, a yellowy material. You get native silver as well, obviously. Again, not in the standard of some museums, but native silver it is. And then we move a long distance down towards the bottom of the Atacama region to Huasco province, a district called Freirina. It is quite a forgotten area, but it mined for silver and cobalt too. And the La Blanco mine at Covaltera forms lovely erythrite crystals. Unlike the Moroccan material, it has a white background and they're quite individualized, the crystals, so they're really quite spectacular. Intergrowing group there. And we're interlocking. Just a star of show for this La Blanco mine. Also, you get clinoclase. I hear it, some crystals with chrysocolla. Not as good as the Potrerius clinoclase, but reasonable enough. Another parallel group of crystals there. And a rather peculiar, this is conichalcite with white blobs on top of limonite. Quite unusual. I haven't seen limonite as crystals from here, but you get these blobs on top of the conichalcite. The conichalcite forms quite a nice rich green there. Another place in this area is Bolsico, which has the beta. Sorry, before we move there, we've got the Prairuna district at the Ladrar area, mining district. We have these two chimneys, which are actually furnace chimneys from a smelter that was built here to improve the ore rather than send it away to Swansea or something, or here in Britain. They actually brought the bricks, the refractory bricks from Britain to build it, to improve the ore grade on site. It's a national monument and it's a unique thing for Chile. The interesting thing is also this in the Ladrar district of Freirina. Charles Darwin passed through here and visited one of the mines on his travels here in the 1830s. Another site here at Bolsico is Mi Fiel Rosita mine, My Faithful Rosa mine. Vesellite is found here. Tiny crystals, again, not as good as other places, but nonetheless. Now we move into Coquimbo region, which I mentioned. So we've left the Atacama region, we're in the northern part. We have the San Samuel mine, not to be confused with the one in the Atacama area, which produces lingranite. We get besignite and an unusual type of malachite here, forming radial aggregates here, circular groups, which I think may have been botryoids, but quite peculiar. Moving to almost the Argentinian border, and also up north towards Atacama, as I mentioned, just a mile or two inside, we have the Indio mines at Tambo. There's a couple of pits here, the Adelaida mine and Adelaida pit and the Wendy pit. These are private gold mines operations. Not think they're in operation now, but the Wendy pit has produced some nice telluride minerals, pewite or powite after Fred Pew or Pow, and rhodochelorite named after the Spanish site in Almeria, iron tellurides. Another photo of rhodochelorite there. South from here, about 40 miles, and I say next to the Argentinian border, it's actually only 200 meters from the Argentinian border. We have a lazurite mine, the Chile mine, which is only operational for about 3 months of the year. Snow prohibits regular all-round mining, and 1 month is taken out for clearing the snow away, and then only 3 months for actual mining. It's become the national mineral lazurite of Chile since 1980s, late 1980s. It does fluoresce, so I don't know whether that's Hoin or one of those type of minerals that is doing the fluorescence. That's more or less it, but we do take a jump here. There's some mining operations to the region below there, Valparaiso, next to the Santiago, the capital, which holds half of the country's population, 9 million. Another 100 or 200, another 100 miles south of there, we have another famous deposit, the Teniente mine, which has been mining for over 100 years. This is a well-known mining camp which can be visited near Rancagua. The location is called Sewell, nice English name, or Scottish name, I think it is. The mines until the 1970s, during their operation period in 1900, that were called the Braddon mines, an American operation. That since the 1970s, it's called El Teniente, which is the lieutenant mines. It has been famous for large gypsum crystals and stalactites of chalcanthite, but very much of interest is the chalcophyllite. The chalcophyllite is the best in the country here. It's better than the Portuguese one. You quite easily get the tabular plates in display here. Here we have one or two partly coated or covered with chrysocolla, and the black crystals are prisms of bornite. Another example here of some chalcophyllite. And now I did try to get back, say hello to Steve there in the central studio, but we only got as far as Easter Island, Rapa Nui, which is part of the Valparaiso region. And here it's all basalt, but sometimes there's a lot of vesicles with infillings. I'm not sure what they are. They may be calcite or zeolites of some sort, but they're interesting shapes and forms. And that's the end of our display. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Jane. That was excellent. I'm impressed by the way that you pronounce the Spanish names with a Scottish accent.
Oh,
Very well. I have one question for you, which you may or may not be able to answer.
yeah.
The Inca smelters,
Yeah.
what would they have used for fuel for those? Because there's no trees in the area, is there?
Well, that locality, the Viña del Cerro, it is actually in the hill above the head of the Copiapo Valley, which is actually a very lush area. You know, it's in the middle of the desert, but quite a lot of these, what they call ravines and quebradas, as they call them in Chile, they might have completely devoid of any plant life of any sort, but in the actual valleys they have some little streams and they're very lush at times. So I don't know if that's where they got it or not, but I couldn't really answer you straight out to tell you which what their fuel was.
Yeah, it just seemed to be
Sorry.
a really odd place to have the smelter.
Yeah.
Smelters, and they'd obviously have to fuel it with something. But anyway, well, thanks for that. Any other questions for Jane? Sounds like everybody's happy. All right, thank you very much again.
Sorry, I'm a bit rushed. At worry about time. So
No, you're fine.
Enjoy the photos.
You did very well time-wise, and it actually doesn't matter if we go over a little bit anyway. So,
Okay.
All right. If there's no other questions, yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
And in 2 weeks' time, if you can all join us for her week, I'll have to get the exact title and the details from him, but I'm pretty sure it was on Eiffel. And yeah, we'll reconvene then. So until then, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jay.
All right,
Thank you.
All right. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.